Before we dive into today's episode, I would like to take a moment to thank our sponsor, the Hurt Factory Boxing and Fitness, owned by one of my past guests, Scott Cujo Sigmon, a talented boxer, trainer, and promoter. The Hurt Factory is a premier boxing gym and health institution located at 17804 Forest Road, Unit C, Forest, Virginia, zip code 24551. This fantastic facility offers top-notch boxing training and fitness programs for individuals of all levels, from beginner to expert athletes. At the Hurt Factory, expert trainers provide personalized workouts and classes to help you reach your fitness goals and improve your boxing skills. Whether you're looking to get in shape, build strength, or enhance your boxing technique, the Hurt Factory is the place for you. Join us today and experience the ultimate workout in a supportive and motivating environment. For more information, you can call them at 434-238-5809 or visit them on Facebook at the Hurt Factory Boxing and Fitness. Now let's get back to the episode. Hey, what's up, everybody? It's your boy TeflonJohn coming to you courtesy of the Art of Reinvention Show. And tonight we got a power-packed show, very exciting show for all of you boxing fans across the state of Virginia and all across the world. So tonight we have none other than Scott Cujo Sigmon and we have James Willis. So I'm going to let them take about 30 to 40 seconds to tell the world who they are and what they do.
My name is Scott Cujo Sigmon. I had 55 professional fights when I was an active fighter. I'm now a trainer, manager, and a promoter, promoting this event in Lynchburg, Virginia, called March Madness. And the man with us tonight is going to be the A side in the main event, 6-1 James Willis of Roanoke, Virginia.
All right, James, you want to go into who you are?
I'm James Willis from Roanoke, Virginia. I'm 6-1 right now, and I prioritize punching people in the face.
Punching people in the face for a living. I like it. I like it. All right, so let's start with you, James. So can you share your backstory of how you found boxing and what it means to you personally and professionally?
All right. I needed a place to fight without getting in trouble. I've always enjoyed fighting. Didn't always know the route to get to the legal aspect of it, and I've been turned away from a lot of gyms and stuff. So I found Scott and we got it started.
Yeah. So why? So let me ask, why would you be turned away from a gym?
I felt like I was beating up a lot of people before I learned how to fight, and people didn't enjoy that.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, locally where I am, so
Yeah.
it's levels to the game, and I don't think they level was that high.
Okay. All right, so normally when you hear Scott Cujo Sigmon's name, we're always talking about the boxer, but tonight we're talking about Scott Cujo Sigmon, the promoter from Toe to Toe Promotion. Scott, so what inspired you to transition from being a boxer to a promoter and trainer, and how has that journey been?
I've always been a trainer and a promoter. I promoted probably 30 events. I think my first event I ever promoted was 2009. I co-promoted that with Major League Boxing, first event in Lynchburg in 27 years. I've always liked to show the art of boxing. I mean, boxing sets my soul on fire. You know what I'm saying? It's what makes me feel alive. So to be able to share that with people is really special, and especially like promoting somebody like James Willis. I think he's got an incredible story. He might be with his own words about his story, but it's going to be my job and all these fans here in Lynchburg are going to allow the world to learn the story of James Willis with time.
Okay. Now, James, what does it mean to you to box under Scott's Toe to Toe Promotions?
This is huge. I'm changing the life that I live, and you can look in Roanoke and you can see it's not that fun right now, and I'm kind of done with that. So I'm definitely changing a lot of people's lives, or at least attempting to, and that's the main focus. Myself,
Okay.
my family, others.
Okay. Now how has boxing under Toe to Toe Promotions changed your career?
It started it. Without it, it wouldn't be no career. I wasn't focusing on the right things. So this is the whole of it. So I got to give back to who gave to me.
Gotcha. And so, Scott, so when we're talking about James' next fight, it's going to be at an event called March Madness. So I love the play on words, right? So how did that idea come about, and what are your goals for that event?
I've always kind of played with that name in my mind. I've run a lot of events in March through the years. Typically, I'm a little narcissistic, so often I was my main event fighter. So I always named the show after me or something around my nickname. Um, but I think James he's a bad dude. You know what I'm saying? And I think that was going to be something that was really fitting on this event. So that's why we ended up going with the name March 15th of March Badness.
Okay. So James, when it comes to March Madness, how do you prepare mentally and physically for a big event like that? Because you're the heavyweight, so everyone's looking for you guys to throw some huge blows.
Well, I've never walked into any fight without trying to put someone on the ground. I always want someone to bend the knee. So I'm not bringing any new energy. This is just me. If you see me come out, it's a lot of yelling. It's just me. I ain't nervous. I want to hurt you. So, yeah. Bad intentions, March Badness, it just all fit.
Okay. Now I don't get into rumors, right? But I did hear someone say that you said that you were going to fold someone's clothes up with his body still in it. So
Yeah.
from a technical boxing standpoint, how does that what does that mean?
It's always bad when they fall face first, right?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I'm trying to make him like do a scorpion or something. I want to touch his head if possible. Like,
Listen, and I'm telling you, man, this Joker is always like so. Um, I think James is talking about the energy, but I do think that with this fight and with this opportunity, I mean, Malik, I believe he is the 30th rated heavyweight in the world. Malik Titus, 14-1 opponent, coming from Baltimore that James is fighting. And so James is actually living with me. He's been living with me for 2 or 3 weeks now. He's with me up until the fight. We're making sure high level nutrition, high level station. Even though I'm a trainer, we're separated. He's in Roanoke. We usually don't get a lot of time together. We've been spending every single day together. And, I'm pretty OCD on it. I think I'm changing the way he's training. I think the best version of James I've ever seen. I think he's going to be even more extra pissed off because he's had to deal with me for 5 years.
All right, Scott. So what potential do you see in James Willis, and what does it mean to you having him on your promotional banner?
So, it started off, I always let everyone else that the fighter gets to decide for themselves how good they're going to be. James came to the gym. He was talking really tough. I would box him in Roanoke, and I'd heard about James, and so I got in the ring and I boxed him, and I was out of shape, and started attacking me right out the gate, rounds just nonstop, pop, pop, pop. And I was like, well, it's a big guy. He's gonna get tired. I just laid on the ropes and pick my shots. And now, James was in the infantile stages of his career at that point. I would not be talking about the walking the dog on this version of James Willis. I don't have any part of being in the ring with him, but in his infantile stages of learning the game, I preyed on his inexperience and picked him apart. But what really impressed me in that, a guy that hadn't had any real, and he threw punches as a heavyweight for 9 consecutive rounds, like aggressively, um, without fatigue. So I know that if we can continue to develop our skills, and these big giant heavyweights like Malik Titus, if they don't get rid of a guy like James Willis in 3 rounds, I mean, they are screwed.
Mm,
Malik Titus, he can't do nothing with this man for 3 minutes. I can assure you of that.
gotcha. So James, so what is the most exciting part to you about March Madness, and what can fans expect to see from you?
the most exciting resolution to this event is me standing over Malik. That's the only resolution. But yeah, yeah, that's where I'm gonna feel the best after I make him bend the knee. It wasn't a joke. I'm so serious.
Folding his clothes up with him still in it.
Not a joke. It's so serious. I mean, I'm trying. I want this. This should go out for everyone who ever get matched against me. No,
Hmm.
I'm gonna chase you down, and I'm gonna try to fold your clothes, brother. you better make sure you get a perm press or something before you come out. Want to get some starch in them pants because I'm gonna fold them.
And you know, Jonathan, I think the crazy thing was, so we were supposed to take this fight back in Baltimore in November, I think, and James doesn't have not to say the most optimal living situation, and so he actually lost a lot of documents, and his blood work had expired, and we had a copy of his license ID with the commission, but the lab would not accept that, so we ended up not being able to do the fight, and I think that Malik thought that we were scared of the excuse, so he originally this fight for basically nothing. Then he renegotiated. Then he negotiated again. Then he renegotiated again. Then he renegotiated again. And then ultimately took the fight. It's probably a career high payday for him. He fought a guy, a fight veteran heavyweight, for less money than for a title. Then he's fighting James Willis. And, you know, he's like call James a midget and things like he didn't ask for a midget pay.
Wow. Yeah, because I had an interesting time watching your interview with him, just kind of seeing, he seemed very reserved and quiet. You know what I mean? He didn't really seem as confident like most fighters are.
I mean, Malik's always really um, Malik, he pissed me off with this, but Malik is a boxing guy. He's in a team that I got a lot of respect for. Mac Allison, his head coach, and Ponytail Promotions. Like I like all of those guys. So I am bothered about the way the negotiations happened, but this isn't some thing where I'm going to be incendiary. And see, like James, none of it's personal with James. James just wants to hurt people in general. But this isn't like an incendiary situation. Like I think that after this, I think me and Ponytail still work together. Mac Allison's camp, and I would like to see where I'm still rooting for Malik Titus even after he gets a second loss.
Gotcha. So when we touched on the living situation, right, James? So where did you grow up, and how did your upbringing influence your path into boxing?
I bounced around a lot. I done lived in a lot of different locations. Southwest, Hurt Park, Roanoke, lived in Carew. I moved to Salem for a little bit, and that was very different. Yeah, not having a lot of stability kind of ruins your resources sometimes. And, you know, I don't know. It was weird.
So how does that shape your desire in life, and how
It
does that
built an
give you hunger?
insatiable drive. Like I'll tell you that right now. If there's anything I can speak for, it's my heart. If anyone ever saying they got more heart than me is crazy. Because I didn't get where I'm at from winning a bunch. You know, a lot of people win a lot to get to where they at. That's not how it went. I took a lot of L's, and I refused to keep taking them. So.
Well, John, I think that there's a lot of people in Roanoke now that I think people are starting to recognize. And I think that they always thought that he would fail, and then somehow they thought that I was going to try to abuse him and run him in the ground or something. But what I've seen, you're in a desert, and there's this little plant growing out of a rock. It's probable, right? And nobody's ever helped it, never given it. And I just wanted to put some water on it, see what would happen. And now look, we're a year away from this guy being able to make a six-figure paycheck, in my opinion. And he's showing the bravery and the courage. Like there ain't nobody in their seventh fight fighting guys like Malik Titus. It's not happening. And like he don't ask no questions. I'm like, hey, I think we should take this step. All right, sign the contract. He's just old school.
Yeah.
I'm blessed that our paths crossed. I wish it would have happened earlier, so he didn't have to suffer so long. But things happen for a reason. Maybe a place emotionally and spiritually to where I could at that point. We probably would have destroyed each other 5 years earlier, to be honest.
So Scott, looking at your journey, how has some of your journey shaped your outlook when you went to help James?
Man, there was a fighter I had named Chauncey Fields. He ultimately ended up losing his life. to things that were less savory for me. But he had gotten a lot of trouble when he was younger. He served maybe 15 years in prison, and we started to turn his life around. And I came from body camp, from very humble beginnings, but to try to say that I had a hard life compared to people like Chauncey and James, just not the case. You know what I'm saying? I mean, and Chauncey softened me in those ways, and to walk in his shoes and to be with him. And I think ultimately being with Chauncey, I think his purpose was to prepare me to help people like James and to try to, because I can relate. I think it's even shocking to James sometimes how much I relate to him. Like I could just see, like, we'll be talking, he'll be kind of taken aback. He'll be like, man, how in the hell is this rich white boy saying this? Right?
So so when it comes to your, you getting in shape, Scott, and boxing, and now that you're looking at it from the promotion side and seeing your fighters like James, and I know you said you had a couple other fighters. How does that feel looking to see the actual growth?
Yeah, so I've got Austin Deonda and Willis, that they're my two stars, and I trained them too. I also have Tristan Lackey. He's gotten off to a rough start. He's 0-2, but he's part of the family. James loves him. But I trained those three. Um, Bishop, he trains Christian Fuentes, major star from El Salvador that fights on the cards here. Josh Tufty just signed with me. He's a 19-4 heavyweight. Used to spar with Vladimir Klitschko, and then indirectly I work with Rocky Zapata, and Dallas Brewer trains. So I don't work with all the fighters directly in the camps, but James is a little more set in his ways because he's been on his own for a long time. So it's been difficult. I mean, we're working together and we're compromising and we're trying to make the progress. But he runs his gym, so when you get two bosses in there, you gotta. But he's done a great job. I mean, he's a big, powerful man, and he's checked his ego, and he's trying to learn all the time. And I'm learning from him as well.
Good, good. So when it comes to those learning lessons, right, and you two being kind of the same but different, what have you taught the other person? Start with you, James. What do you think you've actually taught Scott?
Don't crazy now. So
uh,
nothing crazy, James.
I don't know, man. I do think I can see the people around me changing with my influence, but I don't know what I'm teaching. I'll be honest with you, but it's a lot of reality, or at least I think so.
Reality. All right. So what about you, Scott? What have you taught James?
I'm hoping I can. I think I'm showing him there's hope. I think I'm constantly showing him that, and that's the real goal for me, right? I want him. We were talking about these fights coming up, and I'm real frank with them. I'm like, look, we're gonna have to suffer to get to this point. I was like, you're gonna have to suffer a lot more than me, but I think that's the one thing. Being who I was, and I don't think a coach or a promoter ever had to be a fighter. I think there's great promoters and trainers that were non-fighters. Some of the greatest even. Um, but I think someone like James, when the order comes from a general that already paid that same price, I think it means a lot to James.
Okay. So James, when it comes to March Madness, what would a victory mean to you, and what would that do for your career?
Um, Help me climb that ladder. It's all about climbing the ladder. I need the boost, and some people need to be sacrificed. That's all it is.
Okay. So what are some of your goals for your career? Like say within the next 3 years.
I want to fight everybody. I want at least 50 fights, bro. I'm in the next 3 years. I don't know. I just want to squabble. I ain't gonna lie to you. I want to be known. All right, you gotta feel me. People gotta feel me. I want to squabble all the good people.
So do you have your top three or top two?
No, it's literally everyone. I literally want to
Everyone.
fight everyone who wants to fight me, or some people who don't. Shit. I mean, like I want the smoke. literally everyone. You send your vote and cast a vote, and I get to you.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. So Scott, so what challenges have you faced trying to manage and run a boxing gym and also promotion?
You know, I struggled so much in the beginning. I laid the foundation. I paid the price so much, and I think and James, he's been living my life with me. And I mean, I can't say there's a problem. I mean, man, I'm living almost the only thing is my children live 5 hours away from me. That is the only bad thing in my life. Like, I mean, what I'm doing with boxing on this regional level, powerhouse that I've built, the combatants that I've surrounded myself with, like James Willis, Austin John, and Christian Fuentes. I'm blessed. Um, I mean, I can't complain. You know what I'm saying? Like James said something. We're talking about some guy being cut from the cloth, and James was like, "It's really easy when you're the person to decide the cloth's cut from." So I mean, that's like the greatest compliment he ever gave me, right? I mean,
Yeah.
uh, I think a win here for James. I think it's going to legitimize. We stepped up one guy, Burrito, who had a couple hundred amateur fights. I think they might have both been 3-0 at the time, and James lost a split decision. I mean, I think at that point the boxer knew that he was for real because everybody thought that fight was a joke. Like the other guy's manager was laughing, and then all after 3 rounds he won't laugh. He was getting scared, threatening to sue with referees and stuff. That's what these rich guys do. These suits that come in. By the way, his name's Donato DeMartis. That guy's just a complete piece of shit. He has no idea about boxing. He needs to go sit back behind the desk again. He pretended to be a boxer once. I think he was 1-3 and got knocked out by a guy that was 0-5. But anyways, there's a
Wow.
rant. There's my rant on that guy. But a win here with Malik title uh, would legitimize his efforts, and also James hasn't had great quality of opposition to this point, besides Burrito, where we dropped the decision. And that's because, I had a lot of resources hemmed up in Austin Deonda. And those efforts ultimately resulted in being on ESPN. And he's just several fights away from a world title. So it's James's turn. So now James is going to get the full backing promotional funding to get those quality opponents that he needs to prove to the world that he belongs on that national stage, and I think he's going to do that.
Okay. So James, when Scott talks about that loss, right, and a lot of times in our world of sports, a loss is really a failure, but it's really a lesson, right? So could you go over like what did you take from that loss and how did it help you become a better fighter?
I learned a lot. See, I didn't get a lot of coaching, so I'm learning on the fly. And like before that, I felt like I was having a lot of time. I'm just like trouble dealing with people. I learned a lot of footwork, a lot of head positioning on the inside. I learned a lot about the clinch game. I learned a lot, and I evolved through that match, I believe. And some other people had to feel it because those were quick matches after that, and somebody else about to have to feel it too. So you'll see the evolution.
Gotcha. So James, what are some of your biggest inspirations in life, and how does that influence your style of boxing?
Uh, so we're gonna have to say something about like right now. I'm feeding a lot off Cujo. He's kind of like my main, uh, like just source of knowledge for the sport. I'm not the type to be looking up to a lot of people, bro. I'm trying to call my way up. I don't really think about other people like that. Like I want to be respectful and give all the greats they respect, but I just don't. What's the point? Y'all always talk about them. Like let's, you know what I'm saying? Like I am my inspiration. I'm burning. I'm on fire. This make my blood boil. I'm trying to get up out of the struggle. I don't need no more inspiration. These bills inspire me to keep going.
Yeah, so talk about that a little bit. So how do you think it's someone that's going through or have went through the same thing that you went through, right? And they're watching you literally fight. So how was that fight parallel to the fight of life that most people will actually go through?
This one's just physical. The mental way, them punches feel the same. The mental punches feel the same. So you might as well fight. I mean, what's the point of sitting back and getting beat up in the corner? A lot of people do that, and that's what life will bring to you if you let it, or you can fight back.
So when you were at your breaking point, right, or when before Scott came to get you, like what was the mindset that really got you to actually move
Well,
forward?
I didn't come to get him. He was smart. He came to me and
Yeah,
knew what I respect, and he just punched me in the mouth. And that's the friendship was made.
uh-huh. That's the best
Okay,
way to describe it.
gotcha. Oh, okay, so Scott, so where do you see toe to toe promotion hitting within the next few years, and what are your ambitions for that brand?
I mean, we're one of the biggest regional promoters in the country, so I already take a lot of pride in that. We've built a great fight culture in this town. Um, it's amazing. James, he can't even believe it. He walks like a truck driver drove by the other day. He's like, James Willis, how you doing, man? And James was mad.
It's wow.
We try not to get sick before the fight and everything. Obviously, Austin right now is in the highest position to take the next step. James kind of behind him. Heavyweights are, they're the real money. And I also think that he's probably one of the most similar people to me as far as like his hunger, his ambition for combat. Like, there's just no fight he won't take. My career, I'm just fighting 7 times in a month or whatever. Back when they were doing things like that. So, and James is undersized for a heavyweight. Much like my career, all dog. I mean, blood and guts, makes exciting fights. Like I said, I think after we get this fight here and legitimize it, so we got a great heavyweight coming up. Already got the middleweight prospect. I mean, Christian Fuentes, every time he fights, he is national news in El Salvador. Those those three are the people that I'm building the future brand around currently. We're just see how far we can take it. It's up to Christian, it's up to James, and it's up to all. My job is to empower the fighters. And like Christian had a fight offer the other day for TV. James heard me talk to him about, it, and I couldn't force him into it, but I his choice. And he made a decision that I ultimately supported. He wanted to stay on the list a little bit longer before he cool, and if he feels like that's best for him, then that's what we're going to do. I support my fighters in their decisions.
Okay. So James, being on Scott's promotional team now, right? Being in the spotlight, you're around some of these calls that he's getting. How does that feel? Like, is there any pressure now that the spotlight's shining a little brighter?
Uh, I feel like for the average person, they're supposed to be, but for real, with the way they be talking and the way stuff going from where I'm coming from, I kind of check out because it don't feel realistic. Some of like the stuff, it be a little over my head, you know. So I focus on, like I said, I'm just gonna fight. Like I like to let him do that stuff. You know, I believe in him. I trust the situation. Just let me focus on fighting. So
All right, so go on that a little further. Like, how important is that trust in Scott as a trainer and a promoter?
uh, I feel like my first couple fights we were a little rocky. Uh, and actually, my fact, the burrito fight is when I started to listen to him. Like, like round 5, I was like, man, some of this stuff I'm doing is not working. I gotta open my ears, you know. And then, I mean, you gotta receive the knowledge once you realize the path ain't gonna go where it was supposed to. So,
We both learned a lot that fight. I mean, I think James was passionate early, and he he didn't pace himself for an 8 round fight, and I think it probably cost us. But then ultimately, I take a lot of the blame too because I kind of get into the referee a little bit because excessive holding in that fight. By the time James was ready to receive some of the knowledge, I was too busy arguing with the referee. Both dropped the that step up fight, and it's hard when you're as emotionally connected to a fighter as I am, James. So I have to really, and Austin really did that when he fought good because I knew I was like I'm taking all of my emotion out of, and like all the other cornermen were like what is going on, and it's because of what happened to James, man. Like I can't. We're in those fights. When the other corner's talking trash or something, I got to get one of the minions in the corner to talk the trash back. I got to stay calm. Like James is already all hellfire and fury. Like, we don't need any more of that in the corner. Somebody calm one.
So talk about growth, right? So you're talking about, you guys kind of struggled early on, right? So what is the foundation of your relationship now?
You asking James this first?
Yeah. So let's start with you, James. Like, what is that foundation now? Like, after you went through the struggle, now you're building that trust. What is the actual foundation that where you and Scott gel?
Uh, I'm confused on the question, to be honest. Like, we
Yeah,
asking.
so like that, like that dynamic where y'all have the bond, so it may not be fight or trainer, but what brings y'all together, whether it be commonalities or whatever.
Uh, I mean, it's a couple of things for real. Cause the fighter trainer aspect is there, but I really respect that he done been through the war. You know what I'm saying? It's got a lot of fights, bro. Like, I can't. I understand a little bit about numbers, and you can't go through that many squabbles and not learn something. You know what I'm saying? So you got to respect what he been through, and that's a lot of like. That's what I usually default to. Like, even if I see something, I'm like, I don't know. You know what? He been here. Let me focus. I take what he says and use it my way, or let's try to make it work. It's more of a like I feel like I'm becoming a lot more accepting of things and less stubborn from this. So I want to say it's the trainer coach aspect because trainer fighter aspect because that's what I'm trying to like. I'm trying to become a student of the game. Yeah.
Okay. So what about you, Scott?
I mean, first off, we both have a shared love for boxing. I don't want to pretend that James loves boxing as much as me. There's not many people that love boxing that I do. I have some kind of sick obsession. It's not healthy. Like, I get personal when people bad stuff in boxing, bad emotion, bad fights, and those types. I think that people don't like me because I'm an asshole, but I'm always honest. And I think one thing about James that I like is in most parts of his life with me and the other interactions I watched him have with an honest person. He's not. And I really appreciate honesty, even if it's not going to make me happy. Like, I like the honesty. And I think my greatest motivation, I had humble beginnings, and I suffered. And I don't pretend like I've suffered the way that James has. I didn't. And my greatest motivation is I don't want to suffer. And I know that this can help alleviate that later.
That's huge. That's huge. So Scott, talk about March badness a little bit as we get to the end of this interview. Give people, why they should come out.
Yeah, so we're going to have fights we got. 8 pro fights scheduled right now. We got a 2-0 heavyweight, 1-2 heavyweight in the opener. The 1-2 heavyweight, both of his losses. Or the man on here with us, James Willis. Mike Jones, another huge man. He's probably 6'3", but he's 370. Now Malik's 70, but he's 6'6". Kurt Fleming, big puncher from Orange, Virginia, a great fight. Tristan Lackey, 0-2, fighting Jonathan Redmond, who's 0-1. Both got the first win. That's always interesting type of crossroads fight there. We got Justin Gunther, who faced Austin Deonda not last year, but the previous September in our main event. Justin is self-managed, but I'm working with him fight-to-fight role, currently helping him turn his career around. But he's fighting Kevin Jordan from North Carolina. He's a tough fight. Christian Fuentes, the star from El Salvador, 4-0, fighting a 20-fight veteran, Kelvin Kibler. He's all action. The co-main event's Rada versus Juan de la Cruz Rodriguez, another incredible fight on TV. And then, of course, the heavyweight event, James Willis Malik. Why should people come out to this event? We constantly have 1,500 plus people in a building. We constantly sell over 100,000 gates. No media help around here. from like the legacy outlets. I mean, guys like you, other homegrown guys helping us get the word out. All these people can't be wrong, right? I mean, all these people can't be wrong. I mean, we're so legit. You know, the ring announcer Jones, he's in the Hall of Fame. Um, I mean, the price of admission is worth listening to that. Handle the mic to be. I mean, incredible ring announcer.
Okay.
If you're, I mean, just looking for something that there's just nothing like this. If you've never been to the fight, and if you come, because it's always the first. Got to get them to the first one. Everybody, man, I've been trying to my friend, he won't come. He won't come. All of a sudden, they bring them. They're like, they're thinking to come to the next. They think you can only have stuff like Vegas or Atlantic City.
Gotcha. Okay, so James, so what message do you have for those who may not know you but are curious about your journey?
I'm on the way. You might not know me now, but I'm definitely on the way. That's it.
You know, yeah, March. So March 15th is a good introduction, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Like a welcoming party.
Welcoming party. All right. So as we close, I got a question for both of you guys, right? So how can fans stay connected with you, to follow your journey leading up to March Madness? So we'll start with you, Scott.
I mean, I do everything to my Facebook. I run through Scott Sigmon on Facebook. I run a promotional company. I do my personal training. Everything's through Scott Cujo Sigmon on Facebook. You follow me on there. I'm very active.
All right. What about you, James?
James Willis on Facebook. That's probably the only thing I look at, and I'm not that active, but I be doing some stuff.
Okay. All right. So any last words? So I would say, what do you want people to come out of that fight with, James? Like seeing your heart. Like what do you want to fans to walk away and say on that night?
Me.
Yeah.
I would like for people to take notice in the skill, because everything I do looks aggressive and mean, like I'm just out there swinging. Now, I'm thinking, bro. I'm really. That's why we changed my name from the Juggernaut to OG. Like I started using the brain, and it's an important function once you've been a musclehead for a little bit. Power ain't always the way. I got some finesse. I want people to realize I can box. Actually, I'm not just running people over, even though it look like it.
Gotcha. Scott, so any last words?
No, I hope people will come out, new people haven't been to events. We always have, like to say, the same 1,200 people, 1,300 people. We got families come out to these events. I mean, this is a major, major. We have people fly. It's insane to me that we have people fly from the UK. They come from Canada to fight, and the people in the city won't even come. It is insane. I just
Yeah.
not. I can't believe. I just if they would just give it a chance once, they'll see that it's legit. Furthermore, so many people after Austin fought on ESPN, they came on his page. Can't believe you existed. We're going to follow you. They were talking trash about me, all of this stuff. Where were you? He was here. Where were you when we needed you? But now he's made it, right? Don't wait until James Willis is on the zone. Don't wait until James Willis is on ESPN. Don't wait until James Willis has a world title belt around his waist. You can be part of the journey right now. Everyone wants to be a part of the outcome. Everyone wants to be a part of the process. The problem is the process is where you find out it's worth being part of the outcome. This is it. Be part of the process. Help James Willis and I now. We need your help now.
Cool. So as we end the show, and I like to just piggyback off of what Scott said. I just did a post about 3 days ago. It's easiest to board a train before it reaches full speed. And right now you have James Willis where he's about to take off. So show your support. You know what I'm saying? Lynchburg, Forest, Madison Heights, the whole surrounding area. Show your support and get behind this brother because I believe he is going to do a lot of great things. Scott, keep doing your thing, keep pushing these fighters out, and most of all, keep changing lives because people see exactly what you're doing, whether they want to admit it or not. So as I say, as we end this episode, one love, but it's your choice to be blessed. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, John.
Thank you.
Hey, what's up? It's your boy TeflonJohn, and I would like to personally thank you for listening to this episode of the Art of Reinvention Podcast Show. Follow us on social media on TikTok at the Reinvention Podcast, YouTube at the Art of Reinvention Talk Show, and Instagram at the Art of Reinvention Podcast. And you can hit us up at www.teflonjohn.com. That's John spelled John for all motivational content in Teflon Radio. And again, as I always say, one love, but it's your choice to be blessed.